I'm now going to share with you how you can start to make massive progress in your online digital business over the next 30 days. And also, I'm going to be sharing with you some results and some case studies that I've been running over the last 6 to 8 months using different traffic methods and different things in my own business. So I'm going to be telling you what has worked for me and also the things that have just been a complete waste of time. So let's discuss. So earlier this year, I started doing things a little bit different. As you probably know, I've been doing all of this online thing for many, many years, but I've made some adjustments in my business. So I decided to start a YouTube channel and focus specifically on online business. And also I tried lots of different traffic methods as well, because what I wanted to do is I wanted to figure out the best traffic methods that were going to work for my business. I already knew a lot of different traffic methods out there. I've used paid traffic and free traffic over the years. There's been lots of different things that have worked for me and some things that haven't. But when it comes to social media and making videos to distribute around the web to drive traffic, then it's a little bit different, because what works for one person may not work for the next person, because it depends what niche you're in and what product that you're selling in your business and what type of audience you're trying to attract. So I'm going to share with you what has worked for me, and I'm sure this will really work for you, because if you're trying to build any type of digital online business, then this will really help you, and it will at least show you what I've been doing, and I'm going to give you and explain the results that I've achieved and tell you the traffic methods that I've used that have just been a waste of time. But there's some methods that I'm also using that I'm seeing some really good traction with and some really good results. So before we get into the traffic methods and the things that I've been using myself to drive people into my membership site and into my email list to build my business and generate sales, I'm first going to just explain a few truths about what you need to be doing in order to set your business up. Because it's all well and good me giving you traffic methods and telling you that these are the traffic methods that you need to use and these are the ones that have worked for me, etc., etc. But if your business is not set up in a particular type of way, it doesn't matter what traffic methods you use, you're not going to fully be able to appreciate and use these traffic methods to their full potential. Because traffic are just people on the web. And, when people say web traffic, they are literally just people, like you, like me. It's just that different types of people congregate in different areas on the web, on different websites and different platforms. So you need to, as a business owner, if you're trying to build a business, you need to identify where your target audience actually are and the type of people that are going to engage in your content, because that way you can then build an audience and build some subscribers and potentially customers into your business and serve those customers and solve problems for them. So you first need to make sure that you have some type of a business in place. Now, when I say a business, don't start thinking that you need to go out there and spend all of this money, thousands of dollars on equipment, computers, microphones, all of the best software. You don't have to do any of that. Seriously, to start an online business is so cheap. It is so cheap. It's probably one of the, in fact, I will go as far to say it is the cheapest business on earth to start, especially when you have the potential of making millions back. There are not any other businesses out there where you can function from anywhere in the world where you have the potential to make so much money back and also such a low investment to get started. So that's just a no-brainer. So you don't have to spend a lot of money to get started. You just need a website, you need an autoresponder, a page builder, a domain name, some hosting, so you can get started for under $100. But that being said, before you even go out there and spend any money on tools and page builders and hosting and domains, any of that, you need to figure out your angle and what you're trying to achieve online. Because as I've said before, there's two different ways that you can build an online business. So you can either be an entertainer or you can be an educator. So that's the first thing you need to identify. And then, of course, you need to choose your market and choose your niche. Now, this is something that I know a lot of people struggle with, and maybe you are. I totally get it. I know it's hard to sometimes decide which niche you want to go into, because one of the questions you probably do have is, well, Paul, I don't really know what niche to go into because I'm not very good at things. There's nothing that I'm really good at that I feel like I could make money from. And that seems to be, from everything that I've seen and I've learned, that seems to be one of the biggest problems, is that you don't feel like you've got enough experience to enter a niche and start selling information and creating content around it. That really isn't that big of a problem, because you can learn as you go. So if there's a niche that you're really interested in, then you can enter that niche, create content around it, and then just learn things as you go. So you don't have to know everything as soon as you enter a niche. So say if you're interested in health and fitness and you already go to the gym, you work out and you keep healthy, you're maybe a keen runner. Say if you already know a little bit about that hobby and that sport, that's enough for you to get started. You can make a start and then you can improve your knowledge as you go. And this is what you do. So you don't have to wait until you know everything. Don't get intimidated by the people out there that have got huge social media profiles and followings, and they've got all of these different products and training and consultations that they offer. Don't get intimidated, because everyone starts somewhere. Now, you might not be interested in the health and fitness market. There's thousands of other niches out there. But what I'm saying is, you just have to get involved and start learning. Because one of the other things that you do have to bear in mind is that you have to enjoy the content that you create and produce. It's no good you going into a niche just because someone told you, or some guru dude told you that it was profitable. So therefore you're going to go out there and learn it. That is just not going to happen. Yes, you can force yourself to learn certain things, but it's just going to be painful, extra painful, or more painful than it already is going to be, because you're going to have to learn skills and you're going to have to change the way you think and change the way that you do a lot of things in order to progress with your online business. So going into a niche that you have absolutely no interest in, but you're only entering that niche because someone told you that there's a lot of money to make, well, you're going to self-sabotage, and after so many weeks or months, you're just going to give up. I mean, you might last for 6 months, but at some point it's going to get so tough, you're just going to throw in the towel, because it's times like that where you keep pushing forward. When you get those dark days and you have really dark, hard, tough, painful days, if you have no interest in the niche, those are the days where you're just going to throw in the towel and say, no, I've had enough of this. Whereas if you're actually interested and you have a passion in the niche, that will keep you going through the dark days. That's something a lot of people don't really tell you. And that's what I found myself. Otherwise, I would have probably given up 15 years ago with my online business. So moving forward, so you have to have a little bit of an interest in whatever it is that you get involved in. And then you, of course, create content. So my point is, you need to have an angle to go in at, and you need to know what you're going to be doing online, what content you're going to be creating, what niche. And you should really even think about how you're actually going to make money as well. Have a slight idea. You don't have to have a product before you get started, but you do need to have a little bit of an idea on what you can actually sell in your business. So it could be consultations, it could be an actual service, it could be a meetup, it could be a digital course, it could be a membership site. Just depends what you want to create. There's pros and cons on a lot of different things, depending how much experience you have. I've got a membership site, but of course they are quite technical to make because you have to know about how to build a membership site, then content, and then structure everything, and then set up your payment processor and all of that. And yes, it does take a lot of time and there's a lot of things to learn. That being said, the easiest way to get started and making money is selling a standalone digital product that you can sell for, say, $47 or $97, $27, whatever you want, just to get some customers through the door. That's the easiest way. Make a video course, put it into either a members area or a page, even if the page isn't protected. You're best to just create a page using a page builder, put the videos on there, and as soon as someone pays you, you send the first email out to that customer, and then they get the product that they've purchased. Now, that's just a really simple way of doing it. Of course, there are more professional ways to do that, but I'm saying that if you want to get started as a beginner and you don't know how to do it, just do that. Use a page builder, get a single page, put videos on that page, and then as soon as someone buys you through your payment processor, whatever that may be, PayPal, ClickBank, whatever, you can set it up so that person automatically gets added to your autoresponder. So your follow-up message, your number one follow-up message, will go out to that customer as soon as they've entered your list, which will happen automatically through the API. As soon as that happens, your first message is automatically created and set up, so they will get their first message straight after they've purchased your digital product, and then they will get the link to the download page. And that is how you can do it. That's just a really basic way of doing it. I was doing it for years. I made a lot of money doing it that way. As I said, it's not the most professional way to do it, but you can do it that way and it works. So as I said, you need to have a structure of your business first. We will come on to the traffic methods in just a second, but this is what you need to do first. Have a little bit of an idea and a plan on moving forwards, because something that I was guilty of myself many, many years ago, and I know a lot of other people are as well, is that it's no good trying to drive traffic if you don't have any clear focus and plan moving forward, because you're going to be sending people to all these different places, different pages, and it's just going to be a waste of time. So you need to have a clear goal, a niche that you're targeted and you're focused on, and then, and only then, should you then create your traffic, your social media platforms and your channels, because you need to name your channel something relevant to your actual niche. And that's why I say you have to decide on your niche and your products. Well, not necessarily a product, but you have to decide on your niche and your angle and your content angles, the things you're going to talk about and what problems you are going to be trying to solve in your niche. You have to think about all of that first before you create any of your social media platforms, and especially before you create any content. So let's say you've done that. Let's say you've chosen a niche, you've got a domain name, you've got some hosting. Don't go straight in and spend loads of money on page builders and all of that. You don't need to do that at first. I would say just get yourself some hosting and a domain name just to start with. And then once you've done that, you can then start to create your social media platforms. Now, here's where it gets interesting, because I'm going to tell you what I did many, many months ago. As I said, I made a bit of a pivot in my business, I would say about 1.5 years ago, because I wasn't happy with certain things in my business. And I always say, if you're not happy with what you're doing, then you need to change. Now, of course, you can interpret that in two different ways. Not being happy with something is different than something that doesn't work. You can not be happy, but your business could still work and could still make money. So that's different. I was in a position where my business was working, but I had no interest in it anymore, in the ways that I was doing things, and I wanted to change things up. Things like this can sometimes happen with age. As you get more experienced, you decide to pivot, you want to go into a different niche, or you want to do things slightly different. There's a whole range of reasons why you want to change, because as you do get more experience and as you learn more, you do grow to be more wise, and you look at things slightly different as you get more experienced in the business that you're in. And this is just a natural part of the process. So I changed things up a year and a half ago, and then many months ago I created lots of different social media platforms, because I was then going to drive traffic to my business. And although I'd had my business for a while, I just decided to bring my business on social media more, because up to about 2022 I hadn't really done a lot of social media in my business over the last 15 plus years. I'd been working mainly sort of behind the scenes and working on some other platforms, and I hadn't really done a lot of social media. But I know myself, social media is very, very powerful when done correctly. But I had to obviously go in the trenches and learn this stuff. Before we go any further, I've put together a brilliant bootcamp for you, which is going to explain and give you an exact roadmap how to start your own successful and profitable digital online business in the next 30 days that starts making money and generating sales and customers into your business. If you want this completely free training, the link will be below. If you're watching this on video, just click the link below, go through to the next page, and you can download the free course there. Otherwise, just go over to coffeeshopincome.com/bootcamp. That's coffeeshopincome.com/bootcamp, and you can access your training from there and access the bootcamp that I promised you. So enjoy. But I'm now going to tell you what has worked for me and the things that I was quite surprised about, the things that didn't really work out as well as I thought they were going to. So firstly, I'm going to tell you the things that didn't work out very well for me. So remember what I said, before you start to use all of these traffic methods, you need to make sure you've got a bit of a business and you've got one type of page that you can send people to. Because when you use these traffic methods, I'm now going to show you and explain, it's no good you using these traffic methods if you don't have a structure or some type of a business already. You need to at least have a bit of an idea on what you're going to do, because otherwise you're just going to be creating content and you're just going to be here, there and everywhere. Some of the places that I tried were other video platforms, and I thought it was worth a try, because initially when I created my entire campaign, and this is all free traffic, this was, when I say campaign, it's just platforms that I used. So about a year ago, I started to use lots of other video sites and social media platforms. And now I'm only left with 2 out of about 9. So most of them have just not worked out very well. Now I do understand, I'm perfectly aware that you sometimes have to give things time. But after posting quite a few videos and quite a bit of content to certain areas, I just didn't see hardly any traction and any progress. Not only that, but I just felt like my audience were not hanging around on those platforms. So based on my own experience, based on everything that I saw and things that I just felt and my gut instinct, I decided to stop using these platforms. So I'm now going to tell you what those platforms are. So when I first got started, I created my video platforms. So YouTube channel, Vimeo, and Rumble, and Dailymotion. So YouTube, Vimeo, Dailymotion, and Rumble. Now they're all good platforms. Of course, YouTube, I'm still here on YouTube now. So this is one of the platforms of, obviously that I've kept. But when I use Rumble, Dailymotion, and Vimeo, I'm sure you've heard of those 3 video sites. They are big sites and they've got lots and lots of views. People hang around on them all the time. However, for my particular type of audience, I just felt like they were not hanging around on those platforms. It just wasn't the type of place where my audience hung out. So I decided to just stop using them. Because if there's one thing that I've always tried to do, and I learned this many years ago, is you need to double down on the things that are working and forget about the things that are not. And this is what I've now done. So you might be using Rumble, Vimeo, or Dailymotion, and maybe you're seeing some good results. And if you are, that's great. I'm just telling you my own experience and my own results, because the work that I put in, I want to put in the minimum input for the maximum output. That doesn't mean I'm going to be lazy, because if something works, I will then go all in on that platform. However, I just felt like it was so much hard work to just get any traction at all on Rumble, Vimeo, or Dailymotion. So those video platforms didn't work out for me. They might work out for other people, but it just didn't work out for me in my business. So moving on, I then created some other channels. I then created a podcast platform on Spotify, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and obviously YouTube, but we've mentioned that. So moving forward, I've still got my Facebook profile, but again, I don't feel like that's having a massive impact on my business at the moment. It's something that I'm going to keep using. However, it isn't something that I've seen massive progress from. I've not seen any huge traction from. Instagram, again, not overly so far anyway. This is still early days, but at the moment, I don't feel like Instagram has really taken off for me. TikTok, I'm quite happy with TikTok. I'm actually quite surprised. TikTok seems to be working out well for me. Now, I'm now going to explain why I think I like TikTok more than Instagram. Leave a comment, let me know if you disagree. But I find that TikTok appreciates the more raw versions of videos. So you can just shoot a video if you're walking through a park or walking your dog. You can just open your phone and make a quick video. And I kind of like that, because I've never been one for making polished videos, perfect audio and everything else. I mean, you can see I've now got a brand new microphone. I should have invested in a decent microphone a long time ago, in all honesty. But yeah, I'm now using the Maono, sorry. So anyway, the Maono 300X, PD 300X, I think that's called. But it's really good, yeah. So I tried Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. I still use Facebook. It's good, but this is like a very, very long term thing. You really do need to be on Facebook, I think, for a very long time, because I found that Facebook for business is good. It's certainly a good platform. However, I don't feel like it's working out as well for me as I thought it was going to. Again, you might find it different once you start using it, but I'm just saying what has worked for me. So it's still good to create some content on there and post some things. And I found that the articles and text updates and posts work best on Facebook as opposed to videos and stuff like that. So I don't use Facebook quite as much now. I don't use Instagram quite as much now, even though I thought Instagram was going to be really good. I had a feeling that Instagram was going to do quite well for my type of audience and my angles and my content. Now, I'm still going to use Instagram moving forward, but this is like a bit of an update. I want to tell you and explain what I have had good results with, because you can then go out there and, of course, save yourself a lot of time. So Facebook is okay. Instagram is okay. TikTok, I'm going all in on TikTok because I feel that that really suits my style of making videos. So I'm already seeing some good results on TikTok. So I'm just going to go all in on TikTok over the next few years. And obviously here on YouTube, and also my podcast platform. I didn't really mention much about that. On Spotify, I found that although podcast platforms don't take off quickly, that again, they are more of a long-term thing. So when you start to create podcasts on someone like Spotify, you want to have a plan and have the intention of creating 1,000 podcasts. Once you've created 1,000 podcasts, then you can just have a look at your numbers. 500 if you like, but my target is 1,000. So I'm just going to create podcasts over the next few years until I'm at 1,000, and then I'll look at my numbers and see how things are from there. But I know podcasts work well, and the good thing about podcasts is that the people that listen to your podcasts, tune in on a regular basis, they can be very, very loyal viewers. So if you're listening to this on a podcast, I highly recommend that you start a podcast. And what I tend to do is I make my videos and then I convert them into a podcast and then upload them to Spotify. It saves a lot of hassle and a lot of time, because you don't want to be making a podcast specifically for Spotify, because that's going to be a lot of extra work. So all you do is make your videos in such a way that you can then convert it into a podcast later, and then you can upload it as content. So let's just go over that again. So podcasts working out really well for me. I feel like this is a long-term thing on podcasts, although I'm not seeing huge results at the moment. I know myself that podcasts is definitely a long-term thing, but I do really feel like you can build a much more solid brand and a name for yourself and a business if you focus on your podcasts for the long game. I'm talking like for the next 2 to 5 years. Use podcasts, but once you've created the podcasts and the content on there, upload them and just forget about it and then move on. Just do that. Don't get too hung up on the stats or the numbers you get on the podcast platforms, because it does take longer to build. But once you get a bit of momentum, it does get much easier. Facebook, it's working out okay. This is, again, a bit more of a long-term sort of plan of mine. I do use it occasionally. TikTok is working out really well. Not really too bothered about Instagram. YouTube is working out well. So those are the platforms that are working out well for me. And these are the ones that I'm going to now go all in on. Another thing I will just say is you only get so many hours in the day. So what you don't want to do is make the mistake of trying to upload to so many different places just to say that you've uploaded to lots of sites and you feel productive, and you can sit there and say, well, I've just uploaded my podcast and video to 29 different video platforms and 17 podcast platforms. That's all well and good. And yes, quantity is always a good thing if you've got the time to do it. Because if you throw enough stuff at the wall, some will stick. Of course, that will happen. You will always gain by posting more content. It's never going to be a bad thing. However, if you do only have a certain amount of time during your day, every day, to post content, what you need to be doing is posting your content to the platforms where you see the highest return on your efforts. So that's exactly what has worked for me over the last 12 months. I made a huge pivot in my business, and I just wanted to share some of the things that have worked for me. But before you even get to this stage of creating content and distributing it around the web, you need to make sure that you've first got some type of a business in place, so you can at least use the web traffic that you generate from these platforms and actually send it into a particular page. So you're actually building either an email list or you're building some type of an audience. Because if you don't have any plan and you don't know how you're actually going to make money and you don't know exactly what you're doing online, you're going to be in no man's land. You're just going to be here, there and everywhere. And a lot of people are actually in this position. A lot of people get stuck in this position for many, many years. You kind of get stuck in this cycle. You buy things, you research a bit more, you try things, you research a bit more, you do this, you do that, but you just have to go all in. Go all in, find some traffic methods that work, which I just told you. Those are all free traffic methods. And then you can start to create your content, build your audience, and then send everyone back to the same page. And that's the last thing that I want to just explain is you need to make sure that you only have one website. Don't try and be clever and try and do things different and have 3 different websites that you're all trying to brand and build. Not going to happen. I'm telling you now, it's not going to happen anytime soon. So you need to have one website, one landing page, stroke squeeze page, capture page, whatever you want to call it. You send people to that page, they come into your business, and then you can have some type of a follow-up sequence in place. And that is going to be the start of your ecosystem. So that is what you need to do before you even start to create content, is just have an idea on what you're going to sell in your business, how you're going to structure everything, and make sure you've got your plan all laid out first. Again, you can do this in a couple of days. It's not going to take you months. You don't have to sit there and create some type of super duper business plan where you've got the potential of making millions of dollars and you sit there for 6 months working everything. No, don't do that. Just spend a day or so doing this and then start to create content, set your platforms up, set your traffic methods up, and then just go all in on the platforms that work. I've already told you the platforms that I've been using that have worked really well for me. So it's entirely up to you whether you want to use the same ones as what I use or just go out there and conduct a little bit of a case study like I have and test different things out. So do whatever you think is going to work for you. Use everything that I've given you. Of course, you can go and test some other methods if you want to, but remember, you only get so many hours in a day. So you need to use your time wisely. And if you only have 2 or 3 different platforms that you know work, where your audience hang out, then just focus on those 3 platforms. It's so much easier when you can just go all in and you've only got 2 or 3 different places where you post content to. And do this for a period of like maybe 6, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, and then reevaluate where you are. And then of course you can then expand from there. If you are just starting out online and you really do need to learn more, then check out the video above. It will either be here or here. And that's going to take you through and explain how to set up your entire digital business. That's another free video, so go and check it out.